Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel and another chapter in my tanning journey. So a couple of weeks ago I did a video where I shared my thoughts on the Coco and Eve tanning foam. If you haven't already seen that video, I will link it above for you. But you guys seem to really enjoy that video and also left me a bunch of recommendations of tans for me to try that might be better suited to my skin tone. So I thought, what better thing to do than to start a little series where I take you along with me, testing out as many tans as I possibly can. And I think I'm going to call it the hashtag TANNINGTRIALS. I have actually scoured YouTube to see whether or not anyone else is using that hashtag in the same way, and I don't think they are. So we're just going to call it that for now. But for this week's tanning trials, we are going to be testing out a brand called Minetan. Now, I haven't seen very much of this brand up until relatively recently. However, there are two different things that really drew me to this brand in particular. One of which is on their website, they actually have a 4-step quiz for you to take. So they ask you what your natural skin tone is like, what kind of tan you want to achieve, what kind of formula you want to use, whether that be like a foam or a gradual tan. And then they also ask you what your skin tone is actually like. So if you've got dry skin, oily skin, combination skin, and then they use all of that information and recommend you the best tan from what you have given them information wise. I think that is such an amazing idea because they have way too many options of tans on their website to choose from, and I'm one of those people that if I'm spoilt with too many options, I'll just pick something and it may end up being wrong. So straight off the bat, that is really great. However, they also have a different way of labeling their shades. So a lot of brands tend to label their shades light, medium, dark, ultra dark, but Minetan actually do it by tone. So they have so many different tones to choose from. There's a caramel for the warmer tones, they've got an olive, a violet, a dark ash, a blue black. That's just the ones that I can remember off the top of my head, but there are so many more from what I've seen on the website. And also at the time when I was placing my order, they did actually have a special offer on where each bottle on selected items was $17.99, and then if you use the Valentine's Day code, they just did give you a free bottle, which is absolutely insane. So when I was placing my order, which I did actually pay for with my own money by the way guys, just so you know, I went for the olive tone and I also went for the dark ash as well. I think I was going to use the olive tone for more of like a day-to-day use, whereas the dark ash one I was going to save for more like special occasions when I want to look that extra bit bronzed. Both of these tans are supposed to be odor free and streak free, as well as having a 3-hour express development time, which is amazing for if you are in a bit of a hurry. However, I like to leave my tans on overnight just to make sure they soak in all of that goodness. So now that I've given you the entire DL on these products, I know I'm so sorry I've spoken way too much in this intro already. I'm going to go off camera and prep my skin ready for tan. So shave, exfoliate and moisturize. I will show you what my skin looks like before I apply the tan, and then I will check back in and tell you my thoughts after. applied the tan yesterday evening, let it sit overnight to develop, and then washed it off this morning. I'll show you a couple of clips of what my skin looked like before I washed off the guide layer, and then I'll show you some clips of after. Obviously, this is not an accurate representation of what I'm looking like right now just because I am fully clothed, but I have some things to say about this tan. First of all, the guide layer for this tan is absolutely ridiculous. Like, it was almost as if as soon as the formula hit my skin, it started to develop. I have a very particular method in how I apply my tan. I always have a glove on underneath my mitt just to make sure that if any tan seeps through, it doesn't stain the palms of my hands, because I've had that happen to me so many times before and it's the most annoying thing. I usually apply the tan on the left hand side of my body first, and then I will remove the mitt, move the glove over to my other hand, and then put the mitt back on and apply the tan to my right hand side. However, when I started doing that yesterday with this tan, it was like developing in front of my eyes. I could see in comparison my left side to my right hand side that had nothing on it, and I went into internal meltdown. I was having visions of Ross from Friends where he goes for a spray tan and gets 2 falls on one side of his body and then nothing on the back. That's what I thought I was going to be, but like half and half across my body, and it was just ridiculous. Like, the guide layer was so dark. As you can see when I was lifting up parts of my bikini to show you the comparison, the guide layer was so dark, and I was really happy as well with the tone of it too, because it was kind of like on a little bit of a dark greeny yellowy shade, which is perfect for my skin tone, so I knew that I was going to love it straight off the bat. One thing that I did notice about the formula, however, was that it was a lot thinner than what I'm used to with other brands that I've tried. It melted a lot quicker on the mitt than what I was expecting, and I was applying it onto my skin and I felt like it applied quite thin, which did make me worry a little bit that maybe some parts of my skin were getting more tan than others, which was fine because I just rectified that by applying another layer of tan after I let it sit for a couple of minutes. I usually do that anyway just because I'm so self-conscious about missing any patches on my skin. Another thing I did notice as well is that the tan took a little bit longer to dry than I would have liked. It didn't necessarily mean that was a bad thing though. I just kind of like waited around a little bit longer than I would normally do for it to dry before I put my pajamas on. And looking at my body after I have rinsed off the guide layer, my skin looks absolutely fine. There aren't any patches where it's slightly lighter than any other places. Also as well, looking at the problem areas on my skin, like my elbows and my knees, I always get like clumps of tan sticking to those parts of my body, but I really don't feel like, especially on the elbows, like the elbows are a risky part of the body to put tan on, and they are absolutely fine. There are no streaks or anything. The tan is applied really nice and evenly. It doesn't look, like I said, no patches that are lighter than others. Even my hands look normal too. Like, I don't have the urge to overwash them to make them look like the rest of my body, which is absolutely amazing. Obviously my hands look slightly different to my foundation just because I haven't got a shade that matches this tan in particular because I've never used it before. Also as well, doing the smell test, my skin doesn't smell overly biscuity or anything. Sometimes after the initial application you can kind of smell a little bit fake tanny and a bit biscuity for a few days following, but I mean, I got my brother to smell my arm and he said I just smelled like soap, which is never a bad thing to hear. So that was my thoughts on the Dark Ash Tanning Foam by Minetan. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up. I will also leave links in the description for both of the tans that I've shown you in this video today, along with Minetan's website and my social media. So if you haven't already, please make sure you go over and follow that. I will also leave a link on the screen for if you haven't already subscribed to my channel. I would really appreciate it if you did. Thank you so much for spending your time with me this week. I hope you have a super lush weekend as always, and I will see you again next week for another video. Bye!